Have you noticed how 1984 is playing out in real life? It's a horror film. Now, at the end of this video, I'll share with you my perspective on what you can do to help make 1984 fiction again, because it makes a much better story than it does a reality. But in order to do that, it's helpful to recognize how 1984 is playing out in our world today. It's been said that you can't get out of a jail you don't know you're in. But once you know you're in a jail, you can recognize it, and then you can do something to get out of it. And in this case, it's more like you can't get out of Orwell's 1984 horror film until you know you're in it. So let's take a look at how we're in it so we can get out of it.
Alright, stopping it there, and welcome to Making reacting reviews to things on the internet. And today we're returning with Awaken with JP. He's out with another banger. And he's talking about 1984, which is so apropos because I just finished reacting to the sort of life and story of Orwell, George Orwell, and how he became the author we know today. I've been very intrigued in this topic, and again, this has been a very common trope of people just throwing out, oh, how 1984 of you, how Orwell of you, and how people say that George Orwell himself was some sort of prophet and he can see what was happening. And my opinion is he was very observant, and he's a very intelligent man, and he's very good with his words to be able to spell out to us what's going on. Prophet, no, because what I think what happens in most societies is just bound to repeat history. For some reason, it just happens, and I think we're just repeating history. Or because America is taking on more characteristic traits of that of Marxist, socialist, communist regimes, that's why it's becoming to look more like a 1984, because that's what 1984 was based on. And so we're gonna get right back into it, but before you do, if you like type of videos, please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to get the notifications when I do upload. All of that really does help with the algorithm, guys. And if you'd like to support the channel even further, you can donate. My PayPal and Cash App link is in the description box below and sometimes in the comment section. Of course it helps, but you don't have to. You can just like, comment, and subscribe. Another great way to support this channel is either join my brand new membership program, different levels, different tiers, different perks, or you can visit my brand new merch shop, links down below, and links to all of the alternative platforms I'm on, my socials, including my Twitter, other ways to support me, other ways to contact me for business is always in the links down below. Other than that, sit back, relax, and continue to enjoy the video. Alright, here we go.
Ministry of Truth is an expression of 1984's doublethink, or doublespeak, saying one thing but meaning another, which basically means the thing is typically the exact opposite of what it claims to be, and thus the Ministry of Truth is actually the Ministry of Lies. We see you, media. In today's world, the most obvious attempt to make 1984's Ministry of Truth a non-fiction reality has been the Disinformation Governance Board. Hi! We're here to tell you what you're allowed to think is true. But unfortunately, it was too obvious, which created enough backlash from we the people that the death of the Disinformation Governance Board came to pass. Now they'll have to continue administering their lies in the less obvious ways that they already do, that they also think we're too dumb to see, like the government, big tech, and the media.
That's so true. That was the most on-the-nose thing I've ever seen in my life, and that's why they quickly got rid of that. Even though I think it still exists, I think it's just behind the scenes. I think it's always existed, but that woman, that TikTok star that they hired, she was just the face of it. But anyway, let's continue.
Wait just a minute there, JP. You just said that the media, big tech, and the government are propagating lies. I don't think so. They go to painstaking efforts to tell me on a very consistent basis that what they're shoving in my face 24/7 is the truth. Good point. But the organizations that try to control you with lies aren't going to just say, we're lying to you, because that would be honesty. And honesty goes against the very nature of a liar. So expecting a dishonest entity to be honest with you is perhaps an unrealistic expectation.
The thing that I don't understand about human beings is that you'll hear someone say the mainstream media always lies. They always lie. They're so liars. They're so biased. But until whatever the mainstream media goes what they believe, and all of a sudden they're telling the truth. Like, I watched this podcast the other day, and this woman was going, oh my god, the media is such liars, they're so liars, but then went on this whole hate Trump train and basically parroted everything the media says. So it's like, if the media are liars, then they lie. You can't just be like, oh well, they lie only about the things that I disagree with, but the stuff I agree with, they're completely 100% always telling the truth. Like, that's not how it works, right? Like, it's always a bit of lie or a bit of propaganda or a bit of exaggeration, rage baity stuff going on. No matter what the story is, for the most part, not all news, not maybe the local news and stuff like that, but the big boys, CNN, Fox News, and NBC. I don't even know. I don't even watch them, but you know what I mean, like. So it's just funny how I see people do that. Like, I don't trust the news, but when it comes to the Poke and when it comes to the Orange Man Bad, then I trust everything they're saying. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. But anyway, let's continue.
Realistic expectation. The thought police. A delightfully benevolent, tyrannical arm of the Ministry of Truth. Just take a look at the censors and fact checkers always trying to police your thoughts, and you'll be looking at the thought police. And not only that, but they're also policing people with punishment along the way for thinking the wrong thoughts, with shadow banning, deplatforming, and media smear campaigns. It's great.
I definitely feel like YouTube got me on a fucking list because some of my videos are shadow banned. I've had viewers tell me that they're not getting the notifications when I put out videos, and for some reason almost every video I upload now get demonetized. Like, I can get it reversed depending on how I title the title. Like, I have been really noticing what you're allowed to say on YouTube and not. Like, simply putting the word Google in my title would demonetize my channel. Well, not demonetize my channel, but the video that is on. And so, like, all of a sudden, every time I upload a video, demonetize, demonetize, demonetize. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it can be like a Led Zeppelin video, anything. Until I put the title in, then they'll monetize it. So they want to wait to see what I'm going to say, and then they'll monetize it. So this is one of the ways how they control your speech. It's like, don't say it like this. If you say it like that, we'll let you make money. It's very, very obvious. Like, it's so many things you can say on YouTube. Yeah, anyway, let's continue.
Doublespeak. Again, doublespeak is designed to propagate the very thing that it claims to be against in order to get the masses to consent to it rather than resist it. And here are some fun doublespeak examples playing out in our world today. Give up your freedoms for your protection. Censorship saves democracy. Racial equity to fight racism. Misinformation. Conspiracy theories. And going to war to create peace. What fun examples! Let's take a quick look at each one. Give up your freedoms for your protection is doublespeak for give up your freedoms so you're not protected from us. Let's terrorize them with fear to get them to be compliant with what we want. Whoa, what a harmful thing to do to people. No, it's for their protection. Oh, well, what a helpful thing to do to people. But it's all for your protection. What the Ministry of Truth probably doesn't want you to know is that the walls that protect you will soon imprison you. And get this, some wackos out there would say that the most dangerous thing you could ever do is give up your freedoms. Censoring to save democracy is doublespeak for censoring to destroy democracy. Do not question election integrity. Why not? Because we said so, and this is a democracy. The Biden administration has been proven to be instructing Facebook on what to censor under the guise of saving our democracy. And more recently, in Elon Musk's bid to acquire Twitter in order to transform it from a censorship platform to a free speech platform, the thought police warn us about the dangers of this and tell us we need more censorship in order to uphold our democracy. As a democracy can only exist in a society that has free exchange of thoughts and ideas, and therefore free speech, don't think too much about that, or else recognizing the doublespeak of the two contradictory ideas will have you tempted to start thinking for yourself. Racial equity is doublespeak for racism, and that would be dangerous. Right, New York Times? What if you found out that critical race theory and other expressions of racial equity are actually forms of racism trying to prey on good people who want to do good things? And the problem stems from people letting the thought police tell them what good things are rather than letting their own conscience determine what good things are. Then they become a useful idiot perpetuating racism rather than eliminating it. But JP, why would the corrupt powers that be want to perpetuate racism? I know it's weird to think that evil people would want to perpetuate something that's evil. But stay with me on this one. Racism equals division, and a divided society is a controllable society. And controlling society is perhaps what the corrupt powers that be want, rather than having the people be in control of their own society. Misinformation is doublespeak for truth. We're gonna fact check you and censor speech to protect you from misinformation. What if you found out that what's labeled misinformation is actually truth? And the thought police labeling things as misinformation isn't meant to protect you from anything, but rather protects them from you being empowered by truth. Conspiracy theories are doublespeak for reality. What should we do when there's an inconvenient truth for us that people are starting to catch on to? How about we slap a slanderous label on it that smears the character of anyone tempted to believe such a thing? I know. We can call it a conspiracy theory. That's great. We can use that on any truth we don't want people to believe. It's not very creative of us, but it will make them look like a moronic nut job anytime we call them that. If you pay attention to the narrative, why do conspiracy theories prove to be more true than reality oftentimes? Conspiracy theorists keep getting things right. Experts say that's dangerous. Dangerous to get things right? Thank you, thought police. I'll go back to sleep now.
Stopping it there. Okay, the whole conspiracy theory, and which I believe was created by the CIA. Was it the CIA or the FBI? I think it was the CIA that came up with this term to sort of demonize anybody who might be pointing people to the truth. Now, are there different levels of conspiracy theories? Yes. There's people who say that, Justin Bieber is a lizard person, or Beyonce is a robot, or a clone, or something like that. But there's also theories that tend to be true, like the global virus coming from a lab. That was considered conspiracy theory, and then it turned out to be true. The things not working or being efficient or effective was conspiracy theory. Now it turned out to be true. Using your own immune system to fight off the global virus was a conspiracy theorist, which I don't understand because immune systems is a real thing. But that also turned out to be true. A lot of things with the mask and the lockdown, and everyone's saying that these Pope passports was going to happen and all the stuff that was going to happen with government. Everyone said it was conspiracy theory, and it came out to be true, right? However, it really depends on what information someone's taking in. I had a neighbor who did it when I told him this, because he had it in his head that anyone who was against the mandates, who was against the Pope, who was against masks, were all racist right-wing Trump supporters. You can guess what kind of information he's taking in. And when I tried to point out the stuff that I just pointed out to you, he was like, no, the news has always said it came from the lab. The news has always said these things, because he only listens to certain newspapers. And what newspapers usually do is, when things that used to be conspiracy theories turn out to be true, they go back and they edit headlines, they edit articles, they go back in time to change history, to rewrite history, so it looks like they were always on board with certain things, or they'll tell you that they was always on board with certain things. And again, if people don't think for themselves and they just listen to whatever they've deemed the trusted media, in their minds, the media has always been on board with this. That was never a conspiracy theory, right? But the ones who are paying attention was like, no, people were literally getting canceled off of social media for even uttering the words lab, right? And so it just really depends on what type of information someone's taking in. And the whole racial equity thing is kind of like having segregated dorms for racial equity. And segregation is division, is to divide. The whole divide and conquer, the whole if you have a society that's ruled over fear, they're easier to control. These have been said many, many, many times. And like I said in my other JP video that I had that huge rant on, it's said a lot. This is nothing new, but it's just frustrating because you feel like you say it, and then nothing really happens. Not on a larger scale anyway. But anyway, let's continue. I won't go on a rant today.
I'll go back to sleep now. Go to war to create peace is doublespeak for go to war to eliminate peace. The authoritarians like going to war. Whether their agenda is control, profit, or both, who knows? But in order to get the masses to consent to going to war, they have to get them to believe that there's a good virtuous reason for going to war. Enter the doublespeak. You want peace, don't you? Yeah? Then we have to go to war. Okay. Otherwise, without preying on the good conscience of people with predatory doublespeak, the people would resist the war efforts because it doesn't feel good in their soul, and thus the agenda of the authoritarians would be much harder for them to materialize. Creating a common enemy to control people. In the film, the Ministry of Truth would get people enraged about a horrible, despicable enemy. The enemy didn't actually exist. The corrupt powers that be didn't actually need an enemy. They just needed people to believe there was an enemy, because that allowed them to persuade people based on emotions. Control a person's emotions, and you control their mind. What are some modern day examples? Yeah, I support the current thing, and therefore the enemy is whatever opposes the current thing. I stand with Ukraine, so I hate Russia. That's cool. Did you know Ukraine doesn't allow gay marriage? And they also didn't allow black people to evacuate the country simply because they're black. And also the president had his political rivals thrown in prison so he could have a dictatorship over the country that we're told is a democracy. Or the current thing is, get the shot. You're a good person if you do. And we need to round up the anti-jabbers and throw them into concentration camps. Or, wow, BLM is the current thing. We need to defund the police. That's cool. Why don't we defund the thought police?
I totally agree. Create an enemy, again, to push up fear. And if you create an enemy, then you have people going, please help, Big Daddy government, we need your help. AKA, we need you to take more control. Biggest one has always been white supremacy, right? That's always the boogeyman under the bed that we have to defeat all the time. Israel versus Palestine, Russia versus the Ukraine. Most people who supported whatever side that the mainstream media deemed to be the best side had no idea about the nuance, the history, or anything that was really going on. They just knew, hey, this one bad, this one good. Put flag in my bio, I'm a good, righteous, virtuous person, right? Same thing with BLM. No one really investigated it. No one really knows what the problem is that's going on in the black community, what are the biggest causes and the biggest issues that's going on. They don't actually really care. I just been told that hashtag BLM black box in my bio is the best thing to do, and there, I'm a righteous and good person. It's the same thing that's been going on for a long time. The pandemic of the unpoked that Biden had coined, making another enemy. It's just divide and conquer. It's the same fucking rinse and repeat over and over and over again, but we still fall for it all the time. All of us on every side falls for it to some degree or another, right? Right now you have the red pill community, you had feminists before that, now red pill community. It's their fault, they're the enemy, get them, shame them, drag them. It's always divide, put each other up against each other, right? So this is the thing that makes you want to black pill, but you don't black pill, you keep hope, and what you do is you break off from the mainstream, you find smaller communities that are like-minded, and you try to live in harmony. But trying to convince the global, or even just the United States, to try to change the mindsets, following like little puppets for generations and decades, really not gonna happen. So that's just my theory. It's not a negative or pessimistic one, it's just a realistic one. But let's continue.
Here's what you can do about it. Okay, so if that's some of the 1984 jail playing out in real life that we'd otherwise be in if we don't recognize it, what can you and I do to help make 1984 fiction again? Well, here's 5 quick thoughts on that I think will make a difference according to my delusional perspective. But don't take my word for it. Please use your own discernment and your own critical thinking. Number 1, take control of your mind. Your sovereignty depends on it. Number 2, avoid predatory sources of news that are designed to manipulate your thoughts. This means that your TV will function best when it's in the off position. Number 3, when something doesn't make sense to you, or it feels off or seems contradictory, trust your instincts instead of just going along with it. Number 4, when you hear the narrative, pay attention to what they try to get you to think is true and what they try to get you to think is false. And then play reverse psychology on their doublespeak, and you'll probably be pointed in a more truthful direction. Number 5, stop outsourcing. Let what you stand for and what you protect against be determined by your own conscience and discernment. Trust yourself. And when you find yourself not going along with the herd, take that as a sign that you're probably not being a sheep. With that said, I think if we all do our part in taking back control of our minds, we can collectively make 1984 fiction again. Because a film is much better to watch than to live. Stay free, my friend.
I don't know what this was, but anyway, I agree with everything that he said. do your own research and listen to your own. He used discernment. Discernment is a good word, but if you're not a part of the church, because discernment is usually used within the church, you can listen to your own intuition. God gave you that for a reason. God gave you that meter for a reason, to know, to be able to understand what's right and what's wrong. And a lot of times people know when something's wrong, but they refuse to speak up because of a fear or a group mentality, or tribalism, or fear of cancel culture, or whatever, right? Listen to that. God gave it to you for a reason. My points have I already made before is, again, disconnecting from the mainstream, get out of the big cities, homeschool your kids, think for yourself, diversify your income, try to figure out a way to start working for yourself, and just, get out of fucking big cities too. Because, like, trust me, as someone who lived in big cities versus living in rural areas or smaller beach towns, smaller mountain towns, stuff like that, the mentality of the people is so different. It's like blatant. It's very, very clear how different the mentality is. And if you ask, like, to the point where my friends can look at somebody and just know automatically they're from a big city, because the way they think, the way they act, their ideology, like, everything's different. It's just like this weird like contagion that goes on. I don't know. But anyway, tell me guys, what do you think in the comment section below. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon to notifications when I do upload. All of that really helps with the algorithm, guys. And if you'd like to support the channel further, you can donate. My PayPal and Cash App link is in the description box below. Also in the comment section, of course it helps, but you don't have to. You can just like, comment, and subscribe. Another great way to support this channel is either join my brand new membership program, different levels, different tiers, different perks, or you can visit my brand new merch shop. Links down below, and links to all of my alternative platforms and my socials, including my Twitter. Other ways to support me and other ways to contact me for business is always in the links down below. I also have a second travel vlog channel. I travel as a lifestyle, or I live abroad. If you'd like to know where I am in the world, you can go to the description box below, and also in the comment section, hit the link, go subscribe to my travel vlog channel, and or follow me on my travel Instagram. My stories is usually what's most up to date. Oh, and I also have my second channel, Speak Freely, links down below. And you guys have an amazing day. Bye.